Record. Okay, so hello students. We're going to see today we're going to continue with writing tips. We are dealing with the writing. So let's take a look at this. Okay, here we have vocabulary to improve your writing. And as I always say, if you improve your writing and you have vocabulary words or grammar words or things like that for the writing, they are also going to help you for the speaking. Remember, I always tell you that. And if we see vocabulary for the speaking, it's also going to help you for the writing. So one of the things which you will be evaluated on in the writing and speaking parts of the first certificate exam is your use of English vocabulary. Of course, obviously. To get a higher mark in these parts, you need to use a variety of words and phrases. To help you do this, you will find below a list of advanced synonyms that you can use for some common English words that you will already know and use. So, for example, instead of saying also, or instead of saying but, these are basic words, we're going to see other ways. Or instead of saying so, these are the basic words. We're going to see other words. We have already seen them, but we are going to refresh our memory on this. So, 1 second. Although all of these words, phrases are synonyms, some are used slightly differently to the main word. So all of these words are synonyms. You're going to find a synonym, but we don't use them, all of them, in the same way. They could be used in a different part of the sentence or in a different way, or grammatically, they can be used differently. So let's take a look at some of these things. In addition to using the synonyms below of commonly used words in your speaking and writing for the exam, there are other things you should improve for the exam in general. For instance, your knowledge of phrasal verbs and grammatical structures. Of course. Right now, we are going to deal with the writing, especially with the essay. Then, in future classes, we will take a look at grammar. So, practice using them. Before you see the list of synonyms below, there is one thing you need to know. In order to remember them for the exam, you need to practice using them as much as possible. So make sure that you create sentences in your own words using them. You can either write these down or just say them. It's your choice, but try to make as many sentences as you can. Or try to incorporate these words in your writings, in your essays specifically, because this is what we are working on. So what are the words? Also. We use also to support an argument. And to give extra information about a thing or a person. So instead of using also, what can we use? We can use in addition to. This is normally used to connect or to link information in two sentences together. You follow it by saying what the previous argument you made or piece of information about the thing was. Can you read the examples, please, Facu? Playing football?
Playing football is good for your health. In addition to making you healthy, you also learn how to work in a team when you play.
Good. So here, let's take a look at how we use it. Playing football is good for your health. In addition to making you healthy, be careful because we are using a gerund here, okay? You also learn how to work in a team. You can also use in addition as well, in addition alone. But if you do, you don't follow it by saying what the previous argument you made or piece of information was. Can you read the example now, Facu, again? Playing?
Playing football is good for your health. In addition, you also learn how to work in a team when you play.
So in addition, in this case, we can use it as a linking word. In addition, comma, the same way as we use however, comma, okay? Furthermore, comma, firstly, comma, secondly, comma, finally, comma, okay? In addition, comma. So you can use in addition in two ways. In addition to, and then you continue, you state your argument, or in addition as a linking word, in addition, comma, okay? Besides. Besides can be used to connect or link two pieces of information together in the same sentence, and connect the information in two sentences together. Can you read the example sentence, please, Sol? Playing football?
Playing football is good for your health. Besides making you healthy, you also learn how to work in team when you play.
Okay, so besides making, take a look at the gerund again, the same as in addition to making, besides making you healthy. Okay, so let's see, can somebody think of an example with besides? Give me an example with besides. I'll give you an example. For example, I like preparing salads. Besides eating healthily, you can also, I don't know, besides eating healthily, you can also add meat and other ingredients to make it delicious. Okay? Yes? Okay. As well as. This is normally used to link two pieces of information together in the same sentence. This shouldn't be used when writing formal pieces of writing, for example, in essays. So try not to use as well as in essays, but you can use them in your other writings, in reports, for example, in reviews. Okay. So playing football is good for your health as well as making you healthy. Again, look at the way that we use as well as with gerund, as well as studying for your exams. You should also complete your homework. Okay. All students want to be great students. So as well as studying for exams, you should also complete homework. Okay. Although is commonly used to say there is a contradiction between a situation, it was raining, and what happened or what will happen, I went for a walk. The word although and its synonyms below are always used in front of the situation. For example, although it was raining. This is different to another word used for making a contrast, but. With but, you use it in front of what happened or what will happen. But I went for a walk. So this is the way we use it. Although it was raining, comma, I went for a walk. So, or the other option would be, it was raining, but I went for a walk. Of course, if you can have the option, it's better to use although instead of but because it's a higher level word. Okay. Now, despite the fact that this one is really good, it is used in exactly the same way as although, despite the fact that most people know that exercise is important for their health, very few people do it regularly. So we can say, despite the fact that, or we can say, although most people know that exercise. But of course, for an essay, despite the fact that is great. If you have enough words. Now, if you wrote like 205 words, then maybe not. But if you have enough room with your word count, then despite the fact that is a good option or a good alternative to although. You can also use despite alone. But if you do, it should only be followed either by a noun or a noun phrase. For example, the heavy rain. Can you read the example, Nico, please? Despite leaving?
Yes, despite leaving the house earlier than normal, he got to work late.
Okay, good. So be careful with despite. We can have despite plus gerund or despite plus noun. Okay? So, for example, despite the rain, we went to the beach. It's wrong to say despite it was raining. No. Despite it was raining, it's wrong because despite solo alone, it's not going to be followed by a sentence. If you want to put a sentence after despite, you have to use despite the fact that plus sentence. Despite the fact that plus sentence. If not, then you have to use this, despite plus gerund or despite plus noun. Despite the rain, here we have an example with noun, despite the rain, we went to the beach. Okay. An example with the gerund, despite feeling sick, I went to the party. So here we have an example with the gerund. Despite feeling sick, it's wrong to say despite I was feeling sick. A sentence, no. No sentence. Despite I was feeling sick, no, that's wrong. No sentence. You want to write a sentence? Remember, despite the fact that. Despite the fact that. And now we have subject plus verb, conjugated verb. Despite the fact that I was feeling sick, I went to the party. If not, only despite and gerund. Despite feeling sick, comma, I went to the party. Okay. Up to here, it's okay, kids? Do you understand? Are you following? It's okay? All right. Now, in spite of the fact that it's exactly the same as although, and we use it exactly as the same as despite. It's the same. It's exactly the same. Can you read the example, please, Damian? In spite of?
In spite of the fact that most people know that exercise is important for their health, very few people do it regularly.
Okay, good. So, again, in spite of the fact that, and then sentence. So, plus, in spite of the fact that, the same as the despite the fact that, plus sentence. What does this mean, sentence? It means that you're going to have a subject plus a conjugated verb. Okay? All right. Now, we can also use in spite of alone. But if you do, it should only be followed by a noun or a noun phrase. Again, or a gerund. A gerund is considered a noun. That's why they are saying a noun or a noun phrase. But we'll divide it into two, noun or gerund. Can you read the example, please, Nico? In spite of?
Yes, in spite of leaving the house earlier than normal, he got to work late.
Okay, good. So exactly the same as despite. We're going to have in spite of plus noun, in spite of the rain, we went to the beach. Or in spite of plus gerund. In spite of going to sleep late last night, comma, this morning I woke up early. Okay, in spite of going gerund. All right. Now, one thing that you have to remember, because this is a common mistake with students. Despite of. No. No. Because then students get them confused. Oh, I remember in spite or despite of. No. Despite only. No of. And another problem is that students write in spite alone and they forget about of. Okay. So remember that you have to write in spite of. With in spite, you need the preposition of. Okay. All right. Now, even though, remember that even though they are two words, because it's common that students write them together, they are two words. So for your word count for the writings, they are considered two words, of course. Even though is used exactly the same way as although. Even though. Can you read the example, please, Damian?
Even though most people know that exercise is important for their health, very few people do it regularly.
Okay, so here we can put although. It's exactly the same. Exactly the same. Although most people know that exercise is important for their health, look at the situation here. Even though, and then we have noun, subject, most people, and then we have the predicate, verbs. Even though most people, and now the verb, no, so it's a sentence. With even though and with although, we put them at the beginning. Usually, it's common to put them at the beginning, and with subject and predicate, subject plus verb. Okay? Because this is used to give a reason why something happened, happens, or will happen. Now, what other synonym can we use? Due to the fact that. It is used in exactly the same way as because. Can you read the example, please? Facu, I don't think.
I don't think that many people would choose to stop using their car due to the fact that public transport is slow and often dirty.
Okay, good. So, due to the fact that public transport or because public transport, so it's the same as because. I don't think that many people would choose to stop using their car. Now, there's one situation here. With due to the fact, you're going to put a comma. Okay? But with because, no comma before because. And I have seen this mistake in some of your writings. No comma before because. No comma. Because does not need a comma before it. Another option. So due to the fact that whenever you have that, usually whenever you have that, means that what is going to follow is a clause. And what is a clause? A clause is a sentence. So after that, in spite of the fact that, despite the fact that, due to the fact that, plus a sentence. What does this mean? Subject plus verb. All right. So this is, I need you to get this clear, because if you use these phrases, in spite of the fact that, despite the fact that, due to the fact that, they are easy to use. Okay. Because after that, you have a subject plus a verb, a sentence. So it's not, I mean, you might make a mistake, but if you remember that after that follows, it's a clause. A clause, what is it? It's a sentence. Okay. You won't be using it wrongly. Now, due to. You can also just use due to, but if you do, it should only be followed by a noun or a noun phrase. Can you read the example, please, Sol?
Yes. Due to public transport being slowly and dirty, I don't think that many people will choose to stop using their car.
Okay, so take a look at this, kids. This is very important. Due to public transport being slow and dirty. Here, this is not a sentence because being is not a conjugated verb. Okay. Now, Sol, you are using due to in your writings, but you are not using it correctly. Okay, because I have seen that you are using it and it's great. I love it. I love the fact that you are using due to because it's better than because, but you are using it wrong. How are you doing it? So this is what you are putting, for example. Due to public transport. And what are you doing here? You are putting a sentence is. You're putting a conjugated verb. That's why it's wrong. Due to public transport is slow and dirty. And this is wrong. Okay, this is wrong. In that case, if you don't know how to use it, it's better to put because. Because public transport is. With because, we can't have a sentence. Because public transport is slow and dirty. Okay. So now you know, so you can continue to use due to because it's fantastic. And I like that you are using it, but you're using it in the wrong way. So remember, due to the fact that whenever you have that, what comes after is going to be a sentence, a clause. No problem. Here, yes, so you can use due to the fact that public transport is slow and dirty. Okay. You see there, yes, you can use a verb, a conjugated verb, but not with due to, not with due to. Due to has to be followed by a noun or a noun phrase. What does this mean? Due to plus noun or due to plus gerund. Due to due to the teacher waking up late, comma, due to the teacher waking up late, comma, she arrived later to school. Okay. It's wrong to say due to the teacher woke up late. Okay. Okay, so no conjugated verb with due to, no conjugated verbs with in spite of, no conjugated verb with despite. As. As is used in exactly the same way as because, but it shouldn't be used when writing formal pieces of writing, for example, essays. So we are not going to use as much in essays, okay? Can you read the example, please, Nico? As?
Yes. As university is now very expensive to go to, more and more young people are now choosing not to go.
Okay. Give me another option, Nico. Instead of using as, because as is not that good for essays. What can we put here?
O sea, reemplazando as.
Yeah.
Due to the fact that, due to the fact that.
Good. Due to the fact that university is now very expensive. Okay. So this is due to the fact that is great to use. This is a really good expression. Try to incorporate it in your essay writing. This is great because it elevates. It elevates your writing. It's much better due to the fact that than because. Because is a more typical. Because is a more typical word. Okay. All right. And then finally we have because of. This form of because is used as a preposition. It can only be followed by a noun or noun phrase. So what does this mean? Because of plus noun or because of plus gerund. Remember, kids, that whenever you have a preposition, after a preposition, you can have two things, either a noun, or if what comes after any preposition, it's like a verb, it's going to have to be in the gerund form. It's going to have to be a gerund or a gerundial phrase. Always. If it's going to be a verb, it has to be in the form of a gerund, verb ing. Without verb to be, this is not present continuous, okay? The gerund is not present continuous. It is not past continuous. There's no verb to be. The gerund is simply the verb with the ing at the end, okay? All right, so because of public transport being slow and dirty, I don't think that many people would choose to stop using their car. Okay? So, because alone, yes, a sentence. The students were late to class because the bus broke down. Because the bus broke down. Subject plus verb, subject and predicate. Because the bus broke down. Okay? Now, because of the bus breaking down, gerund, because of the bus breaking down, comma, the students were late to class. And then we have with due to the fact that the bus broke down, there we have the sentence, the students arrived late to class, or only due to the bus breaking down, comma, the students arrived late. So due to, actually, due to practically would be the same as because of. Due to, the same as because of. So remember, if you're going to use because of, it has to be followed by a gerund. Okay, now, other words, vocabulary words. Remember what I always say about think. What is my opinion about think, kids?
You don't like
What's
it?
my opinion about think? Sorry?
It's a basic word.
Yeah, good. I mean, it's not that it's a basic word. I mean, yeah, it is a basic word, but it's a word that the students repeat all the time, especially in the speaking part of the first certificate exam. All the time, I think, I think, I think, I think, I think, I think. Okay? And believe is a little bit better than I think, but we have other options. So consider. This is good. I consider. Consider is used to give your opinion on something, the same as believe or think. When you use consider, it sounds like you have thought a lot on the topic, the subject, or the issue. So with consider, it expresses that you have thought about this topic that you are talking about or writing about. Can you read the example, please, Damian? I don't consider.
I don't consider global warming to be such an important reason why people would choose to stop using their car.
Good. Look at how much better consider sounds instead of think. I don't consider global warming instead of using I don't think global warming. Do you see? Consider sounds better. And remember the other class or last class, I gave you those two words, considerably and noticeably, remember? Instead of saying like very, okay, or much, very, considerably, noticeably. These are words that you should also try to incorporate in your essay writing, or at least try to remember them. Another one I remember now was to take into account. To take something into account. This means, all this means is that you are considering this. I was like, considering this, okay? To take something into account means that you are considering this. And another option would be take something into consideration. They are the same. In Spanish, what would be the meaning in Spanish?
Tener en cuenta.
Yeah, good. Tener en cuenta. So both are the same, to take something into account or to take something into consideration. Okay, tener en cuenta. Okay, great. Instead of using I think or I believe, it is my opinion. It is, we use this to give your opinion on something the same as believe or think. And it is normally followed with that. It is my opinion that if most people were given the choice, they would prefer to travel by their own car. You can also use in my opinion. I prefer in my opinion so that you don't make a mistake. In my opinion, it's easier, okay? Be careful. In my opinion, if you use it, if you do, you should follow it directly by saying, I think or believe. In my opinion, I think or I believe, try to use I believe. In my opinion, I believe if most people were given the choice, they would prefer to travel by their own car than by public transport. So in my opinion, I believe better than I think. Okay, doubt. It is basically a different way of you saying that you don't believe or you don't think. I doubt that most people would use public transport if they had a car. Okay. This is another way of saying I don't think most people would use public transport if they had a car. Instead of saying I don't think, sorry, in an essay you're not going to use the contraction, so it would be I do not think. I do not think most people. Instead of saying that, you can say I doubt. Look at how much better it is. These little things, kids, they increase your level in the writings. They increase. And these are little things. Just some words, some little changes, some minor changes that you make. Instead of writing, I do not think most people, you can write, I doubt. Okay, good. Feel. You can use feel to give your opinion on something like believe or think. It is normally followed with that. It shouldn't be used when writing formal pieces of writing. So not for essays or reports, but yes, for articles or reviews, okay? I feel that if most people were given the choice, they would prefer to travel, okay? All right. Good. But, meaning one. This first use of the word but, there are synonyms for another meaning of it after this, so we will see the other words for but. Here we'll take a look at one meaning of but, the first meaning. Is used to say that there is a contradiction between a situation, it was raining, and what happened or will happen next. I went for a walk. It was raining, but I went for a walk. The word but and its synonyms below are always used in front of what happened or will happen. It was raining, but I went for a walk. So you always use but before what happened or what will happen. This is different to another word used for making a contrast, although we have already seen it. With although and even though, it's different because with although and even though, they are used in front of the situation. Although it was raining, comma, we went for a walk. Different with but. It was raining, but we went for a walk. Okay. In addition, it is also used when you want to contradict what you or another person has said or written before. All right, so let's see. Instead of using but, we have better options, of course. However, you know about however. We already talked about this. However is used in the same way as but it is generally followed by a comma, and it is normally used, not always, but it is usually used at the beginning of a sentence to contrast what was said in the previous sentence. So, however, comma, begins the new sentence contradicting what was mentioned in the previous sentence, in the sentence before. Can you read the example, please, Sol? Most people
know that exercise is important for their health. However, very few people do it regularly.
Very good. So here you have one sentence, and then however, comma, and here you write the contradiction. Okay? Even so, it is used in the same way as but. You also, like but, you can put it in front of it if you want. You can put but in front of even so, but even so. It shouldn't be used when writing formal pieces, so we're not going to write it for essays, okay? Most people know that exercise is important for their health. Even so, very few people do it regularly. So let's try to avoid it in the essays. Better to use however, okay? And finally, we have yet. It is used in the same way as but. Most people know that exercise is important for their health, comma, yet very few people do it. So yet we use it exactly in the same position and exactly in the same way as but. In the middle of the sentence after the comma and before what will happen or what happened. Most people know that exercise is important for their health, but or yet very few people do it regularly. Okay, so for contradiction, you have however, you have yet. Okay, but meaning number 2. The second use of the word but is used to say that there is a difference when directly comparing two things together. For example, I like oranges, comma, but my brother does not like them. Okay, you can use these when comparing the photos or talking about the different options in parts 2 of the speaking exam with the 2 pictures, or in part 3 of the speaking exam when you are talking about with your partner about the different questions. So here, the second use of but, we use it when we want to say that there is a difference when we are comparing two things together. Okay, what other words can we use instead of but? The famous whereas. Nobody uses it and nobody remembers how to use it, never. Whereas is used in the same way as but when we are comparing two things. We don't use whereas in the same way as but when we are giving a contradiction. Not for a contradiction, but when we are talking about the difference between two things. Can you read the example, please? Facu, the people?
The people in the first photo appear to be feeling frustrated, whereas those in the second photo seem to be more anxious.
So take a look at the way we use it. We have the first sentence, and then we use whereas, no comma, and now we are talking about the difference. The people in the first photo appear frustrated, whereas in the second photo, they seem more anxious. Okay, so we are talking about the difference between two things. While, it's the same as but or the same as whereas. It's exactly the same as whereas. Many times, sometimes not, but in many cases, yes. The people in the first photo appear to be feeling frustrated, while whereas while those in the second photo look like they are more anxious. Okay, so there you have the way that we can use while or whereas instead of using but. And then we have however again. It's used in the same way as but. The people in the first photo appear to be feeling frustrated. However, comma, those in the second photo appear to be more anxious. Okay, so remember, whereas and while, no comma. No comma for whereas and while. However, always. Okay. We're going to take a look at the rest next class because it's a lot. It's a lot of information. There is one word that I want to see. Instead of so has many meanings. Below are the synonyms for so when it is used with the meaning of as a result or for this reason. When you want to give or explain what the consequences or the results of something happening were, are, or will be. For example, I was very tired, comma, so I went to bed. But so is a very basic word. So is very basic. It's like and, like but, okay? Try to use therefore. Therefore. Therefore is used in a similar way to so. However, it normally starts a new sentence. It's going to be used at the beginning. It is still a lot cheaper and quicker to eat junk food than it is healthy food. Therefore, comma, poor people especially continuing eating a lot of it in their diet. Therefore, most people especially continue eating it. No, this continuing here is wrong. Continue eating a lot of it in their diet. Okay. All right. So here you have an option, which I like very much, which is therefore. Okay. For now, this is enough because we've seen a lot. So remember, you have therefore. In Spanish, what's the meaning of therefore?
Por lo
Por
tanto,
lo tanto.
Por lo tanto, por ende. Por ende, por lo tanto. Okay. So remember, this is a good word to use. Therefore is a great, great word. Remember what else? Don't forget some other options. You don't have to use all of these words that we have seen, but I'm just giving them to you for you to consider them. Whereas, while, however, yet, doubt, in my opinion, consider, because of, due to the fact that, even though, in spite of the fact that, despite the fact that, besides, in addition to, or in addition. Okay, so these are words for you to consider. Okay, and also considerably, noticeably, we saw those last class. Okay, so I have corrected some of your essays. So let's take a look at your essay. Okay, it's getting better. Little by little, it's improving. Okay, so let's take a look, first of all, at your title. You wrote, only money brings happiness. And this is a question. So write it in a question form. Does only money bring happiness? Don't forget the auxiliary, okay? Now, happiness is given, you wrote, happiness is given in a lot of ways. Yeah, because you're thinking about Spanish. La felicidad se da de muchas maneras, right? Is that what you were thinking, Sol? La felicidad se da de muchas maneras.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Remember, when you're thinking about these things in Spanish, don't think about colloquial, informal ways. Don't think about the typical way that you speak in Spanish. Try to think about a more formal way. Think about a more formal way. What can we use? Achieved. These are two words that I want you to consider, kids. Achieve and accomplish. Achieve and accomplish. What do they mean?
Mejorar.
No. Mejorar sería
Lograr,
improve.
lograr sería, lograr.
Okay, good. Lograr. Great. So, happiness is achieved, okay, instead of using a lot of, because a lot of is informal for essays, so a lot of is informal. You just use many. Happiness is achieved in many ways. Or happiness is achieved in considerable ways. Remember, we saw considerably, you can use considerable in this case. But if you don't want to make a mistake, just use many. And be careful, Sol, and this is for all of you kids, because you are still making mistakes with punctuation. A comma is not going to join, a comma will not join two sentences, two independent, two separate sentences. Commas will not join two sentences unless you put a linking word, unless you put and, but, so, one of those that we have seen, okay? If you don't put a linking word, a comma will not join two sentences. So here, Sol, happiness is achieved in many ways. Full stop. Full stop. And then you begin the next sentence, of course, with capital letter. Some people believe that money, you wrote that money is the most meaningful. Okay, just meaningful. Some people believe that money is meaningful. Now, Sol, tell me here, what we were talking about earlier, why is due to wrong here? Why is due to wrong in this sentence, Sol?
Because I put you to with a sentence.
Okay, good. So if you want to use due to, because actually due to is better than because. So let's say that we're not going to put because. How can you put due to? Some people believe that money is meaningful.
Due to the fact that it
Good.
is
And then
necessary.
there you go. There you go. And you have a wonderful sentence there. That's a fantastic sentence. Due to the fact that it is a necessity and brings such satisfactory things. However, okay, is money, you wrote, is money so significant to be happy? ¿Es el dinero tan significante para ser feliz? ¿Es el dinero lo suficientemente significante? Okay. No the, because, okay, this is another problem with most of you kids. If we are talking about things in general, don't put the article the. Especially with people. All of you put the people. No, people. If we're talking about in general, people in general, then no. Now, for example, if you say the people in Argentina, there you can use the. Anyhow, we can omit it. We can also say people in Argentina. So especially with people, don't put the. But remember this case, because this is a mistake that you keep on doing still. If we are talking about general things, then don't put the article the. So, however, is money significant enough to be happy? And here, Sol, you have, you put a question mark and a full stop. You have to take the full stop there, out of there, okay? You wrote two punctuation. Okay. Firstly, for obvious reasons, well-paid people live better than those who are badly paid. No, who are badly paid. First of all, we have a situation here. You wrote but paid is a verb. So you're not going to write an article or an or the with a verb. Okay? And on the other hand, you have a verb. There, it's a past participle. And what are we doing with you can't have a past participle just like that by itself. So this is passive voice. Those who are badly paid, okay? In Spanish, las personas que están mal pagas. In Spanish too, okay? Here, people, know the people who have money. Now look what you wrote here. So people who have money provide them basic necessities. Let's simplify. People who have money can provide, pueden proveer. For, porque them, why them? We don't need it. Just go straight to the point, go direct to the point, Sol, okay? People who have money can provide for, because after provide we use for, basic necessities. And they live less, they live how? Whenever you can answer the question, how? We need an adverb. They live less stressfully. ¿Cómo viven? ¿Cómo viven? Menos estresantemente. Okay, less stressfully. So we need to put an adverb here. Secondly, having the most modern gadgets would make people thrilled and feel more integrated into society. Know the, because we're talking about society in general. Even so, remember that, even so, it's not bad, but maybe we want to use it for essays, okay? So what can we use here instead of even so? What can we put?
Therefore.
Therefore, plenty of happiness may not always be, you wrote given, que se da, no, may not always be accomplished, achieved. Remember, I gave you those words today. May not always be accomplished, achieved by new gadgets. And then again, you put a comma, but we can't put a comma. A comma is not going to join the next sentence. So happiness may not always be accomplished by new gadgets. Full stop. And then the next word, of course, has to be capital. They are little relevant. They are not relevant. Okay? And then you wrote thirdly. Instead of thirdly, for an essay, I would prefer finally. Finally, activities such as traveling, going to restaurants for tasty food, or in other words, spending money for entertainment will potentially make us happier. Now, be careful, So, as far as I am concerned, here, no opinion here. Remember, the opinion, you're going to write it in the final paragraph. Not here. So, instead of writing, as far as I'm concerned, therefore, comma, this point is the most really enjoyable. Okay. In conclusion, money is crucial for life and it can bring seasonal things. Nevertheless, comma, being rich without friends or health will never give. Again, give. Will never grant total happiness. So here, kids, consider this word. Give grant. And another word, provide. Okay, so here you have two synonyms for give, two really good synonyms for give, grant or provide. So being rich without friends or health will never grant, otorgar, no dar. Nunca va a dar felicidad total, no, nunca va a otorgar. So grant and provide is otorgar. They are synonyms of give, of course, but they are better options and used better. Okay, so, all right. So, of course, there are still many mistakes, but little by little you are improving. Okay, please. So remember all these things that we are talking about, that I am explaining to you. Please, 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 please remember these things. Remember the punctuation. Don't join two sentences like that just with a comma. No, either you join them with linking words, or a full stop and you write a new sentence. And okay, and then be careful with try to use some of these words that we have seen. Don't use the. You are still using the for general things, for general nouns. Okay, so what I want you to do in the next essay writings, don't for now, Sol, in your case, let's try to make simple sentences. Simple sentences. Don't complicate, don't overthink it, don't overcomplicate yourself. Just try to use simple sentences with some of these good words that we have seen and that you know that we have seen in the past and in today's class. Okay, so let's try to, for now, so that you can order your ideas, you can organize your ideas, and so that there aren't that many mistakes, let's try to use some basic ideas, more basic sentences, and you can embellish, you can make those sentences better by using some of these vocabulary words and these things that we have been talking about, okay? All right, for now. Then you can try to make more complicated sentences, or you can go for complicated sentences or a couple of more complicated sentences, but try to keep your ideas organized, organized ideas, simple ideas. Don't complicate yourself, okay? Is this clear, Sol?
Yes.
Great. Let's see. Let me find another one. All right. Let's see, Damian.
Sí.
Okay, so you wrote the title, Are money and happiness related? Great. Very good. And I liked that you capitalized, las mayúsculas. You capitalized correctly. Very good. Remember that in titles, we don't capitalize and, but, or, so. No capital with and, but, or, so. No capital for the articles, the, and an. Okay, so and, the, no capital, and no capital for the linking words and, but, or, so. Okay. Many people believe that they are not able to be happy without money. Is it really true? Okay, this is great. Of course, we can make a better introductory paragraph, Damian. We can make it better, but it's good. At least there aren't any mistakes. Firstly, it is a fact that money is crucial to life, not live, to life, okay? Or money is crucial for life. People have to pay taxes, and of course, they have to eat. But sometimes having everything you need does not make you happy. Now, Damian, instead of using but here, what can we use? Instead of using but, what can we put there?
However,
Okay, however,
even so,
sorry?
even so, was it?
Okay, but remember, even so, we wouldn't use it in essays.
Okay.
Okay, you can put however, comma, having everything you need does not make you happy. You can also use yet. People have to pay taxes, and of course, they have to eat. Yet sometimes having everything you need does not make you happy. Secondly, it is very common to think that by buying the latest gadgets, you would be joyful. But there are millionaires who have everything but are still unhappy. What can we put here instead of but?
Yet or
Yet. You can put however here in the first one, and you can put a yet here. Okay. On the other hand, this is great. On the other hand, you can see families who spend all their money on essential things like food or clothes, and they are cheerful. Finally, a lot of rich families used to be very happy until one of them passed away. Since then, they find their money. Okay, money is not wrong, but you used it like 6 times already. You used it here in the title. You have it here. So that's 2, here 3, 4. Okay. So 5. So instead of using money, you can use wealth. Okay. Finally, a lot of rich families used to be very happy until one of them passed away. Since then, they find their wealth useless because the only thing that used to make them happy was being together. What's the meaning of wealth?
toda su riqueza.
Yeah, good. Riqueza, all their money. All the amount of money. Okay. In conclusion, I believe money does not bring happiness. You can have a new car or TV, but in the end, comma, but in the end, comma, the only thing that actually matters and makes you joyous is your family and their love. Okay, this is a pretty good essay, Damian, and I have seen an improvement. Of course, you can still improve more, but what's the important thing here? Look at how clean it is. No major grammar mistakes. Okay. No, there are no major grammar mistakes. It's clean. It's simple. It's to the point. It's great. You have some good vocabulary words, so it's very good, Damian. Great job. Okay. I can see an improvement. So this is the idea. Okay, good. Let's see. Facu. First of all, let's take a look at, let's refresh, let's remember what the task was. The task was, in your class, you have been talking about the importance of money in the modern world. Your teacher has asked you to write an essay. Some people say you don't need much money to be happy. What do you think? Write about when money is necessary, having the latest gadgets, and then your own idea. Okay. So when money is necessary, having the latest gadgets and your own idea. Let's see, Facu. All right. Does money buy happiness? Facu. Come on. You know that happiness is with double S. You know this. At this level, this is because you are not revising. You didn't revise. And be
No, I
careful
cannot.
with the, sorry?
No, que este no lo había revisado. Te lo entregué
Yeah,
así,
I
¿no?
know, I know. I can tell. I know when a student has revised. I know when a student hasn't revised their work before handing it in to me. And I know when students copy and paste from the internet. Chicos, me doy cuenta cuando copian y pegan. I know these things. Jackie knows about these things because I know you as students, so I know when you are cheating. Okay, so happiness. Happiness with double S. Be careful with the capital letters. Facu, buy should be in capital letter, and money also. We need to think about money, what we do with it, if we want to save it, or if we want to spend it just because. So remember here, you had to put an if. Are we thinking wisely about, not on? You think, because you think about something. Here, wisely hasn't, I mean, wisely is not the case here. You think about something. So are we thinking wisely about what we are spending our money on? Firstly, we all have bills to pay. That is no debate. However, we need to consider which things are needed, not needy. Which things are needed, comma, and which are a complete waste of money. People can say that you do not need electricity or water to be happy. Nevertheless, Facu, here, I believe, here, no. You save your opinion for the final paragraph, okay? So remember this, Sol and Facu, remember this, because this essay is new. It was from this week or last week. And so you already know that you are not supposed to write your opinion in the body of the essay. Write your opinion in the final paragraph, okay? So nevertheless, being capable of paying for those things makes you responsible. So we can eliminate, I believe, and we can also eliminate that. So nevertheless, being capable of paying for, because you pay for things, of paying for those things makes you responsible. Let's take a look at why it's makes, because it's being capable of paying for those things. All of that means it or this. This makes you responsible. So you need to add the S to the verb. Therefore, and again, because you did not revise, you forgot the E in therefore. And joyful is with one L. Okay. Secondly, there are many kinds of electronic devices that will not guarantee you any cheer. Nowadays, comma, we can find plenty of other brands out there in the market that are not that expensive and work as well as the pricey ones. Finally, doing the things you like definitely fills. This is the same thing as before, as here. So, doing the things you like, this is the same as this. This fills you up with joy. Okay, Facu, do you understand this? Are you following?
Yep.
Okay. All this, doing the things you like, this is a noun phrase. So it would be the same as this. Therefore, you need the S in the verb. Finally, doing the things you like definitely fills you up with joy. Sometimes you want to hear your favorite band or see a play, and that is absolutely brilliant. In conclusion, spending money on things that make you a responsible citizen and a happier person is, without a doubt, essential. Those are worth the price. Okay, great. I liked without a doubt. This is great, without a doubt. I don't know who it was in one of the writings. I don't know if it was you, Nico, or somebody. Vamos a escribirlo bien. Undoubtedly, This is another option to use at the beginning. Somebody used it in one of the essays last week. I don't know, somebody, who was it? I don't know if it was you, Nico, or
Sí, no, yo uso Undoublement, uso.
which one?
Undoublement. Usé en uno, no me acuerdo en cuál.
Ah, porque la escribiste mal.
Puede ser, no sé, pero no me acuerdo en cuál, pero sí, lo usé.
Yeah, I think it was you. I don't remember, but anyhow, undoubtedly, sin duda alguna. This is another good word. To begin
La
a
usé,
sentence.
me acuerdo, para arrancar la introducción. ¿La puedo seguir usando o la tengo que cambiar? O sea, si lo escribo bien, undoubtedly.
Maybe not in the first sentence of the introduction, but maybe in the second sentence.
Ok.
Okay. Yes. Now we are going to see some introductions. Okay, and let me see. Okay, so Nico, did you hand this essay in?
¿Cuál
Because
es ese?
the one about money and happiness.
No, hice el de better to do things with people
Okay.
or on your own. Y el de how can we help teenage dropouts continue their education?
Okay, great. Do you know the meaning of dropouts? Teenage dropouts?
Abandonar los estudios, ¿no es? Dejar.
Yeah. Okay. As a noun, a teenage dropout, it means yeah, a person who abandons school, who leaves school forever. Okay, who doesn't continue. Okay, let me see, because I corrected some of your
Jackie, te los
writings.
puedo mandar estos dos, o sea, después de la clase los reviso porque creo que después de lo de hoy un par de errores tienen, entonces
It's
los
fantastic.
puedo chequear de
Yeah.
vuelta.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fantastic, Nico. It would be great. I love it. Yeah, go ahead and check them. Yeah. Before you send them to me, go ahead and check them. You were absent last class, and I think I explained yeah, this essay. So let me check the mistakes with you, Nico. So the task here was let me see the task. Are there more advantages of living in the city or in the country? Notes: infrastructure, career prospects, and social life. Here in this case, I had given you the third point. In the first certificate exam, they do not give you the third point. You have to write your own opinion, your own note, your own idea. But here I gave it to you. So infrastructure, career prospects, and social life. Let's see. No, here. Okay, the city or the country? Nico. So make sure that you only write the first letter in capital letter, okay? Not the whole title. The first letter in the capital letter, but articles, the articles a and the linking words and, but, so, and or do not go in capital letters. Okay? So one of the things that generate more doubts in society is where to live. Here, I didn't correct it, but here we have to put generates. Why? Because we are talking about one of the things, one thing that generates, okay, more doubts in society is where to live. But in answer to this problem, there are a lot of places of types to live. Why put of types to live? It's redundant. Look at the amount of words that you have, 220 words. 220 words. So you have exceeded the amount of words, okay? By 30 words, more or less. So it's not necessary to put one of the things that generates more doubts in society is where to live. But in answer to this problem, there are a lot of places or types to live. It's not necessary. There are a lot of places. For example, the country, comma, or the city. And I crossed out you because you wrote, for example, the country, the city, the mountains, and the beach. But the best known are the city and the country. If you're going to talk about the city and the country, then why mention the mountains and the beach? Do you understand? Nico, why mention, why write? Besides, considering that you have 220 words. So this final sentence is not necessary. So, but in answer to this problem, there are a lot of places. For example, the country, comma, or the city. That's it. And there you have your introductory paragraph. And for sure you have at least 10 less words. At least you are down maybe like to 210 words. The first concept is infrastructure. This topic is very important to know because these places are very different. The country doesn't, Nico, no contractions. But anyhow, sorry, this essay is from last year, so okay. It's okay, but remember, no contractions in essays. The country does not have as many buildings or urban centers as a city. Also, the city is more modern than the country, and for that reason, living in this place is easier. Okay. Instead of also, today we saw it. What can you put here? Nico?
They also, in addition to, besides,
Sorry? Okay.
besides,
The city is more modern. Another option?
in addition to,
Yeah. No. In addition, comma. In addition.
okay.
In addition, comma, the city is more modern than the country, and for that reason, living in this place is easier. Now tell me. And for that reason, what can we put instead of for that reason?
For that reason, therefore.
Good. Very good. You have one word replacing 3 words. In fact, you can replace maybe 4 words because we can put in addition, comma, the city is more modern than the country. Full stop. Therefore, living in this place is easier. Okay? Secondly, the projection to have a good job is different. Again, no contractions in essays. It is true that all people, cuando queremos decir todas las personas, usamos everybody. When we want to talk about all the people, we're not going to put all people. We're going to put everybody or everyone. So secondly, the projection to have a good job is different. It is true that everybody has opportunities, but everyone, Nico, everyone does not have an S. No S in everyone. I know, in Spanish, it means todos. But in English, it's everyone or everybody, no S. Everyone knows that people who live in the city have more possibilities of getting a good job. Why? Because you have the possibility of. And remember what I told you, if after a preposition, if whatever comes after a preposition is a verb, it's going to be in the gerund, so ing. Okay? Finally, social life, no the, because we're talking about social life in general. Social life is different in these places. The city has more people and more things to do than the country, and these topics make you have a more social life. In the country, comma, The people. Why the people? Because you have already used the people a lot. You used it here, people. Now you put people again. Then you put persons, then you put people. Okay. So as not to repeat that many, I put everybody in the country, comma, everybody probably has a relationship with the same people every day. But in the city, people know we're talking about people in general, people frequently meet somebody new. You had put, Nico, but in the city, the people meet new persons frequently. Okay, remember that frequently is an adverb of frequency. The adverbs of frequency, we put them before the main verb. So people frequently meet somebody new. And this way, we avoid putting persons again. We have persons here. We avoid putting people because we have people many times. Okay. All right. In conclusion, I believe that life in the city is easier, but life in the country is quieter. The two options, we spell options like this with T. The two options, also with S, plural, are good depending on the person. All right. In conclusion, I believe that life in the city is easier, but life in the country is quieter. How can we, what word can we use to replace but, Nico?
However,
Sorry?
however,
However,
or whereas, what's that?
no. All right, let me see. In conclusion, I believe that life in the city is easier. No, because here we are, it's a contradiction. However, comma, life in the country is quieter. Okay. All right. So remember, the same that I told Sol, your writings are getting better, Nico, because you have been handing writings in. You have been doing all the writings actually. Yeah, really good. You have been doing them. So the same thing that I told Sol, don't overcomplicate your ideas. Don't overthink your ideas. Try to write maybe simpler sentences, but use these good vocabulary words. Okay? All right. Now, finally, before we do our essay, here, we have already seen, or we saw, I believe last class, we saw ways of beginning essays. We're gonna see again, so that this way in your introductory paragraph, you can begin the essays. At least it'll give you a head start. It'll make it easier for you to start off, to begin. So useful phrases for the first certificate, writing part 1, essays. It is widely believed, this one is great. It is widely believed that, this one is great to start your essay. Another one here. Only the ones that I am marking. These are the ones that I like. It is a common view that, or it is commonly thought that, there is a common opinion that, so for example, and then look at the next sentence here. There has been a change in, so for example, we can begin like this. It is widely believed that, let me see, it is widely believed that there has been a change in the education system over the last few decades. So let's say, for example, that the essay task was that you have been discussing in class with your teacher the changes in education. Or different things, the different ways that education has changed. from the past up to now. So it is widely believed that there has been a change in the education system over the last few years or over the last few decades. Okay, look at how with some of these words. Let me see, what was one of the tasks that we had? Share. Are there more advantages of living in the city or the country? Okay, so it is widely believed that over the last few years or over the last few decades, many people have decided to move to the city instead of living in the country. Okay, so do you see how you can use these phrases? Another one that I like is, well, of course, this one, over the last few years or decades, there has been a change in, you can begin your essay with this. Over the last few years, there has been a lot of discussion. Let's try not to use a lot of. There has been much discussion. Well, it's not going to sound that good. Here you can use a lot of, because with much, it's not going to sound that great. So over the past few or over the last few decades, there has been a lot of discussion of, or this one, there has been a lot of debate over so it is widely believed that over the last few years or decades, there has been a lot of debate over, or there has been a lot of discussion of, okay? The majority of people who I know, no. The majority of people seem to think that, okay? In today's society, or it is often said that, okay? So here you have some ways of beginning. Which one do I like? I like this one. It is widely believed that, or there has been a lot of discussion of, or there has been a lot of debate over. These are great ways to begin your essay. These are just some of my suggestions. You can do whatever you want. I'm just giving you some ideas. We have already seen other ideas the other class. I'm just giving you more ideas so that you can start off your essay really easily and you don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about it. Okay, great. All right. And so that's the idea with essay. Are there any questions? No? Any doubts? Is it clear? Do you understand everything? Okay, great.